were on sync and then we fell so far off sync that like you were responding to something that happened like 12 seconds prior. I was like, oh shit. So then I was like dragging stuff and trying to figure out. So it's still fine. It listens great, but it was one of those things where I was like, yeah, these are the unique challenges that come from having a multi-location, very important podcast that literally hundreds of people listen to.
Literally hundreds.
Hundreds of them.
Yeah. We do it for them.
We do.
It's worth it.
I got a really cool message from a fellow author who was working to write blurbs for a couple of the books that are coming out from Spaceboy soon.
Cool.
And he was just taken to mention in an email for no reason that like he had listened to the Phantom Menace episode and was astonished that as a like big Star Wars fan himself, he didn't know about a bunch of the things we talked about, including the Michael Jackson Jar Jar thing. And he was just like, this was really entertaining. Thank you. So I was like, well, if you ever would like to come on the show, let us know what you want to do an episode about. So we have that offer hanging out there.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that. When I tell people about the show, I give the tagline, it's a podcast about firsts. And then I go on to say, which means it's a podcast about fun facts. You're gonna get so many fun facts out of it.
Yeah, it's a great time. You're getting a history lesson and a pop culture lesson, and sometimes like a math or science lesson.
There's so many about capitalism. Sorry,
always, every time, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. A coworker of mine at Realtor.com, non-spawn, was saw in my Slack profile, Never Show the Monster, and he was a horror movie guy. So he went and looked at it, had not listened to any episodes yet, but just from our like online presence, he was like, I'm getting anti-capitalist witchy vibes from this. And I was like, pretty close.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, it is nice. It's just nice to know that we're heard. I think that's part of the thing, right? Anytime it pops up, I would hope that even when we reach a point where there are hundreds of thousands of listeners, you know, it could happen. It really could.
It could.
It could.
I'm going to start watching YouTube videos about how to make that happen.
Great. So see, look, we've got a plan already. We're picking great topics. We're getting better every single time.
And manifest.
I'm going to start doing tarot. My guides can guide us.
We can get some prosperity candles.
Yeah, we got this.
Oh, I actually have one with Snoop Dogg on it. Did you give me that, Chelsea?
Quite possibly.
Yeah. It's hard to know sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Snoop's Olympic pin?
Yes.
It's great.
His Olympic what?
He has an Olympic pin? Yeah. So
I didn't know he had a pin.
Yeah, like
I've just seen him all over the Olympics, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, he's having a blast over there. But yeah, he revealed just a small like enamel pin. It has him on it. It's got like the Eiffel Tower in the background, and he's blowing the Olympic rings as smoke rings out.
That makes
sense. It is fantastic. It's really good. Yep. It's really good.
I think they like everyone or there's a lot of pins available in the village, and you have to go trade them. And like the most coveted one at some point was the Simone Biles one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like gold, and everyone was trying to get it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have their own, and it's like you trade with them. Like, how does that work? I don't know, but it sounds
into the
so
street
fun.
like confetti. You have to
go. I love that they are generating like a pin-based game economy just to keep people from trying to have sex with each other. Like they're like cardboard beds, no air conditioning. Also, what about pins? Trade pins.
No, they're just going to create like
Paris, so they did give them just a bunch of condoms as well to be like
they do every year.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah, well, good for them. Keeping it safe.
I
think having cardboard beds is a terrible like
deterrent.
It still has a mattress on it,
right?
Yeah,
like you don't also have to have the bed frame, right?
And let's be honest, these are the most athletic people available.
Right.
So if anyone's going to be undeterred by an unstable structure, it is them, right? Like
it's more practice, right?
And also, those cardboard beds are very stable. They're the like
the IKEA kind of corrugated.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like those are very strong. That's not deterring anything. Unless they wanted to flip it on its side and like have sex on an end. But even
Sure,
then,
yeah.
like you said, they're
Why
Olympic
would they
athletes.
want to
They can make it
deter it?
happen. You know, I was listening to a podcast going over the conspiracy theories about that.
Please tell me.
One of them was like a like an espionage. Like, oh, you're gonna reveal the secrets of how our country trains
Oh,
type thing.
okay. Okay.
I think that that's whatever. It doesn't matter what I think.
We just don't want to make super athletes across different countries.
You want to give up
or
a
like,
competitive advantage?
you could send somebody who like has a horrible disease that you spread
Oh.
to Simone Biles, take them out. So I don't think that any of that is real. That's just what was being discussed on this podcast.
So the like American colony way of doing things.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gross.
I feel
Checks
like a
out.
lot of the issue was that they were having STD outbreaks in
Yeah.
previous Olympics. And there's also just kind of a thing where it's a pressure cooker situation. You've got a bunch of people who have been intensely training for 4 years
Yeah.
plus, right? But they've been
Yeah.
training at least for the 4 years since the last Olympics.
Mhm.
They are finally in the room with other people who have gone through the same thing they've gone through.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
And there's got to be a whole lot of like, also, hey, if you just compete, medal or not, like you just did the thing. You're
Yeah.
high on adrenaline.
You're
going
so
somewhere.
full of
There's wine filling the Seine, and you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? I'm never gonna be here again. And yeah, I think it's just a perception thing. Honestly, I feel like it's
Like,
it's
let 'em.
throwback kind of puritanical, like whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that that's all it comes down to. It comes down to
Hashtag kaboom.
yeah. Congrats to all the Olympic medal winners.
Yeah.
It's true. Ahoy, listeners! This is Debut Buddies. It's a fortnightly podcast about firsts. My name is Nate, and I'm one of the buddies.
I'm Kelly. I'm an additional buddy.
I'm Chelsea. I'm the other buddy.
And oh boy, listeners, you may remember, you may not, but over the last couple of weeks, the three of us went into the woods. And while we were there, we found an old log. And we determined, with a little bit of knocking and talking to an anthropomorphic frog, that log was hollow. So we investigated the log. And inside, we found a box. And in that box were several old magazines with pages that stuck together. But also, we found a VHS cassette tape. And on that tape was this episode's theme. We are going to be talking about the very first found footage film. So get ready to find some facts about found footage films with your friends, the Fabu Fuddies.
That was a long walk.
Buddies?
This is what happens when
I
don't
liked
drink.
it.
The
It's like
walks
we're
get even longer.
the fake debut buddies. So if we had like triplets that were like us,
That's right.
That's weird.
I don't know.
If there were two boys and a girl,
Whoa.
right? No, I know. I'm as disgusted as you are.
I think that there is a podcast like that, but it's more about sports.
Yeah,
That would be the opposite of us. We did do the football episode. We did.
did.
That's true.
And
We
we would talk
talked-
about sports sometimes.
we
And then we
talked
learn a
sports.
bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we talked about professional wrestling. That is a sport.
We did. Oh,
Yeah.
that is. Okay. I did really. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Never
we're
mind.
just hitting all the
backtracking.
CTE
I don't know. Yeah, we do talk about that a lot.
all the collision ones. We are, but we're sportos. The three of us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Big time
that's
jocks.
nice.
Sportos.
That's how people describe us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're Renaissance jocks, they say.
Yes.
There is like a syphilis joke there, right?
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We're Greco-Roman wrestling all the time.
Yeah. Sexy.
True. It's good. See, we went full circle about the Olympic stuff.
full circle like an Olympic ring. Wow! She's back, baby.
Even fuller circle. Found footage. Let's talk about found footage for a moment, shall we? I think we're all pretty connected to it. I feel like my first found footage film that I ever watched was probably a pretty obvious one because it was just the Blair Witch Project because everybody watched that.
Yep, same. Big time same.
I did not and have not.
That's right.
Yeah, I was going to watch it for this episode, but time was not on my side.
Same.
Well, so I did not watch Blair Witch like I had planned, but I do love the genre and am excited to talk about where it's currently at and a little bit about the history.
So what was your first found footage? Cloverfield or
no, was Paranormal Activity probably.
Oh,
there's got to be ones before that I didn't notice were found footage, but Paranormal Activity was probably the first one that jumped out in my brain.
Yeah, I mean that's the big one.
Shaky cam,
exactly.
And I feel like I saw shaky cam before Paranormal Activity because I remember watching Paranormal Activity and liking it because it was less shaky cam.
Stationary, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to have been something before that because that made me nauseous. I would be like, I'm gonna throw up everywhere.
Oh, like Wreck?
Oh, I did watch Cannibal Holocaust, but that was way after. Yeah, Wreck, but that was after. Yeah,
that would have been.
So I don't know what I did before Paranormal Activity. But that's the last one I can remember. First one I can remember.
But you said that you love the genre.
I do.
I feel very conflicted about the genre.
I think it's how you define
the style,
genre.
Right.
Yeah. If you define the genre, and I was watching a really good YouTube video from Hound of Hell. Cool. The of is OV. And he talked about how there are 3 categories. One's like fake documentary. One is found footage. And then the other is screeners, which would be like host and like searching and unfriended. Anything that's done on a screen that is like constituting as like a footage thing and not necessarily like and he like defined it as somebody in the universe is using a video or using something to record something. So somebody in the universe is creating the output is how he defined it. And I was like, man, then I'm really into this genre because, and then he listed the movies and I was like, those are all movies that I like.
Yeah. So. Okay. I wouldn't have considered that. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. It's the frame narrative thing that I think can be most compelling about it. Right. Because we go to historically pre-film, you're talking about epistolary novels like Dracula and Frankenstein, where it's like, hey, this person's going to tell you a thing that's flashing back where they're writing letters to somebody that's flashing into these people communicating a thing. And the action is all nested in this way that creates distance, but it also creates attention because you're kind of like, especially from a horror perspective, you're not able to see everything because you're sort of anchored to someone's perspective, often a camera person. Which limits your scope even more. It can feel kind of claustrophobic that way. It can feel kind of focused and energized, but it's also extremely limiting. Like you're in a normal movie, you usually have a wider shot, or at least you occasionally move to wider shots where you get a sense of like, this is what the world is, and the people I'm watching are over here. And yeah, these found footage and epistolary things really just say, look, you're in this with this person and you're not going anywhere.
That's so interesting. So yes, looking into this, I saw the comparisons of found footage to epistolary novels, and I was like, I fucking hate epistolary novels. I don't know that I agree with this, but maybe I do now that you put it that way in terms of how tied to a single perspective you are. Because you're right, in both you as the reader or viewer become like isolated and or like a participant in the situation almost.
Yeah.
And just now when you were listing that out, it made me think of that episode of the X-Files where Mulder and Scully are reporting a vampire incident to Skinner and they're each telling their own story.
Yes.
And
the Rashomon.
Luke Wilson is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny the way that the other describes their stories just don't match up, and it's such an interesting case study in perception. Yeah, that is what this is about. Fine, epistolary novels and screeners count.
What was your first one, Kelly? Did you say?
It's got to be Blair Witch.
Okay.
That's the earliest I remember.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and Blair Witch,
which I loved.
Yeah, great. It was great. I haven't really actually gone back to rewatch it. I haven't really felt curious to rewatch it either. It's such a like vibe.
It is
found footage movie. Less so than two of the early ones that I'm going to talk about. I think we're all going to talk about. But yeah, it's just kind of a little bit more like, hey, the horror is in the fact that this information is incomplete. And you draw your own conclusions, right? It really uses found footage as a way to get around budgetary constraints and storytelling limitations and things like that, right? Which is not a problem. That's very creative. It's cool. But
and also explanations, right? Like if your participant dies during the action of the movie, then you don't have to wrap it up. You can just be like, ooh, spooky.
It's especially interesting from a storytelling standpoint there, because often a story will maybe be in close third person and a character might die in the story, but the story is able to go on because it's not solely anchored to them.
Right.
Right. And with these, you're talking about, yeah, look, they're all gone. And the beauty here is we have a gimmick, we have a mechanic now where this camera can be on the ground and it can be staring at the leaves and the glistening snot, and you've heard screaming, and then we go to black because there's nothing else to do. And you get away with a lot, right?
Yeah. Especially if you make your audience so motion sick that they can't watch anymore.
Yes. Yeah, and that, I mean, I think that is ultimately the flaw in that film is, again, that's all, it's a budget constraint thing. It's like how to, like, the best way to convey frantic fear and running around is to just, like, shake the shit out of the camera. Like, we're just going to make sure you cannot get your bearings also.
I wouldn't say that that's the best way. I will say it is the most accessible way.
Yes, yeah. The best cheap way. The best way to do it where, other than just having somebody pop up every couple of seconds, like, hey.
I do think it is interesting. Can you guys name a found footage film apart from The Connection that isn't horror?
Yes. The only reason I'm saying that is because in that video I watched, he listed Spinal Tap and What We Do in Shadows. He counted that one as well.
Yeah, and like mockumentaries, I think, fall in that weird zone because
that feels different to me.
The one that I can name is,
I think that's fair.
There's a movie called Medium Cool that I think came out in 1969 or 70.
Nice.
But it was half filmed during the 68 Democratic National Convention in Chicago when there were a bunch of protests, anti-war protests, and it kind of developed into a riot. The movie features actors portraying journalists who are covering the event, but half of the latter half of the movie is filmed at the event in the thing that happened. So it's weird because it's not an intentional found footage movie. It is a movie that was going to use documentary elements, and it turned out to become something much more momentous than I think they could have predicted.
Yeah.
And it's called Medium Cool.
Medium Cool, yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's it's just interesting because you can clock moments where the actors are not capable of acting because they're getting shoved around and like trying to avoid being trampled or crowd crushed or whatever while people are surging around. So there's a way that's found footage, because then that becomes this extra layer of, hey, we filmed this thing. It didn't actually go exactly the way we thought the last half of this movie was going to go, but it's better than what we were going to do. So as the director, finding my footage in a different state than I initially intended. Like, I know that's a big walk too. I'm taking a lot of walks today.
No,
really
that one
my
feels
steps in.
That one feels closer to what I think of as found footage than like Spinal Tap does.
They also had said Chronicle as one of them.
Oh yeah, the superhero horror movie.
Superhero movie.
Yeah, that has found footage elements to it for sure.
Yeah. And District 9, I think, was also one, may have been.
Yeah, I haven't seen those. I don't know.
Yeah, and District 9 similar. Like it's a sci-fi found footagey aesthetic. I mean, what becomes
but not horror. That's what you're
right,
Oh,
yeah, and
I
not
see.
horror. Yeah. Because what's interesting, so the thing that's cool about The Connection is that it is entirely under the veil of this found footage aesthetic, right? From opening title card to ending, we are acting as if what is happening is through the lens of a camera watching real people in a real situation.
And I would add on to that, which is that the presentation of that footage is completely separate from what the initial intention was within the universe of the film, right? Which I think is where I'm like getting, like, I think that that's where my friction is with other mockumentaries, but
gotcha.
Right, because the mockumentary is mocking a documentary, which is in itself a straight up, we film these interviews and edit them together thing. And the mockumentary isn't acting as though the documentary was left on the cutting room floor and someone found it.
Yeah.
But that's sort of okay. So, you know, The Connection is like, hey, this is found footage. And then you watch the whole thing, and we have some editing tricks where it seems like the film is being cut together or skipping, or the film or the picture drops out, but the sound continues, whatever. But it does this thing.
That might have been Kanopy.
Right. And it feels generally like it's doing this is a documentary. This was an attempt to do a thing. You're watching something that has been untouched and undoctored. Other films, especially the horror, but like Cannibal Holocaust, which I watched for the first time to prepare for this, do these other hoops, right? Like what's the Ethan Hawke movie where he finds the videos where the people kill themselves? And then
great movie. I get it confused.
Sinister.
Is it Sinister?
Yeah. So like your Sinisters.
Get confused with what?
I'm always like, it's either Sinister or Insidious. They
Sinister,
came out at the same time. I don't know.
But yeah, like that and VHS and
See, I wouldn't classify. Sorry, is it Sinister?
Sinister.
I wouldn't classify that as found footage. I would say that Ethan Hawke in that film found some footage.
He finds footage in the movie. Yeah.
Well, the plot is finding footage,
but the movie isn't found footage.
I think that's where I kind of fall with Cannibal Holocaust being not like it falls in a weird middle ground because the first half of Cannibal Holocaust is an in real time guy going back to figure out what happened. And then
I did not make it to the found footage. Sorry.
We'll talk about. I have thoughts about the movie. We can discuss it. Chelsea probably remembers enough to be dangerous.
I remember parts of it. Yeah.
You probably remember
that I will never forget.
I just stopped.
For better, for worse. Yeah. For worse. Not for better or worse. Just for worse.
For worse. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's this big gap. But The Connection from 1961 is the consensus first found footage film.
Yeah.
It's adapted from a play, and the playwright Jack Gelber.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
It does, right? Because and here's what works so well, right? The found footage medium is a perfect frame conceit to slap onto a play that is monologue driven. And that's what this is. This is a brilliant, like really a very good monologue driven play where a diverse cast of jazz playing heroin addicts wait for their score to come in, their literal connection for heroin to show up. And they all, in a kind of Shakespearean, like divine intervention way, just start speaking about all of the things that are bothering them or the things that need to change or venting their existences to each other. And
that was the director being like, give me drama. Have you ever thought about being an actor? All right, calm down, Jim.
The director guy's great. Really. What an inspiringly weird performance too.
Yes.
Because it's like it's very kind of post silent film, like big and stagey.
Yeah.
And everybody else is kind of big too, but they're also small in the right ways.
Which is interesting because most of the rest of the cast were the original actors for the off-Broadway production of the play, but not the director or
the cameraman
JJ,
guy.
our
Yeah.
cameraman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's funny that, the director definitely had the biggest, like, calm down. Like, no, you know what? Leech had the most overacting performance.
Fair, yeah. The whatever pustule on his neck was happening was there was a lot. There was a lot of scenes. There was very big.
A lot.
And I think, in fairness, probably in the adaptation, we're adding the director and the cameraman to make it into a film. No?
Nope.
Those were characters in the play?
The director is my understanding. Mm-hmm. I couldn't find the text of the play. The cameraman he sort of replaced a different character, and I don't know the details of that replacement. So maybe he was swapped in to make it found footage. But I believe that the director was original to the plot, to the text.
This is directed in actuality by Shirley Clark, who is an indie film director. She's a woman. She's a woman directing a movie in 1961. And the other cool thing, this is a movie from 1961 about heroin addicts that does not immediately dismiss all of them as broken, disgusting monsters, and in fact is willing to explore who they are as individual people, treat them tenderly, allow for race and some queer coding to occur, and it isn't all commented on and beaten down or even become the plot. Like, it's literally a human struggle piece from A to Z with moments of like tenderness mixed in with these very interesting sort of commentaries on, hey, look, maybe the best person in the world is the person who shows up and just makes sure you live another week.
Yeah. And it was, I don't know. I did not expect such like poignant lines from it. There were a couple lines that I was like, fuck, like, let me write that down. God damn. And I think that not only does it humanize them, but it like taps into a lot of feelings that I think a lot of people have felt even outside of a heroin situation.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of struggle of being a creative person who, for a wide range of reasons, is not able to create anything and is stuck and is just anchored in despair or anchored in that inability to get started, that inability to move.
Yeah, if you can't see a way out, like, how do you take the next step? What is the next step? You just got to wait for Cowboy.
You do. Well, and enjoy the musical interludes, which very cool part of this movie is there's live jazz happening in this loft apartment. Well, maybe not loft apartment, but whatever it is. It's an apartment. It is a stagey apartment.
Oh boy.
Very stagey.
Actually, the minute the movie starts, I didn't realize it was based on a play, but literally in the first 10 seconds, we see Leech like in the kitchen, and then he sort of turns around, and as he turns around, the door opens and somebody else enters, and I was like, this is a play.
Yeah.
Hold on. Like, this is all very familiar to me. So yeah, went and looked it up. Got it. It is a play. But also a lot of films of that era felt that way.
Absolutely. Blocking was still in that mindset where it was like, okay, we need to bring the mise-en-scène that an audience would see from back here just right into the lens. And we can get closer, so that's cool. But
but back to the music, I thought that was a really clever conceit, because your found footage within the universe of the movie, this footage is slapped together to share with people. So there wouldn't be a score in that situation.
Yeah.
But so this was a really clever way to add scoring when music is so valuable to giving the audience their emotional cues for what's happening and how they should feel.
Yeah, it's all diegetic, and it's cool that you have this live playing that appears to just be, we have some other quote-unquote junkies in this space waiting for Cowboy who are still capable of creating jazz. So they're going to play jazz as
Yeah.
as a way to just cleanse your palate between these individual monologues with these other characters who are struggling with levels of issues of self-worth, issues of ability to create, struggling with poverty and addiction and what that means.
Loneliness.
Yeah, just being fucking plain lonely. Like it is a really interesting study of just like mid 20th century male loneliness,
Yeah.
right? And the idea that they're all so close. Like all of our main speaking characters, aside from Cowboy and whatever the nun's name is, whose name I can't remember now.
Oh, Sister Salvation.
Sister Salvation, yeah, who come in late. Everybody else clearly hangs out an awful lot together.
Yeah.
Like they're teasing each other in a very sort of brotherly way.
Right.
But they all also owe each other something, or they've crossed each other in some way, and everybody has these grudges and these regrets and these little sort of just tiny bickering layers of onion to peel off of each other.
They know exactly how to push each other's buttons, which I think really doubles down on the closeness of this group, right? Like you don't know how to rile someone up with a phrase or a look if they're just a casual acquaintance. Like these people know each other. Even Cowboy, he's got a monologue at the end where he tells that story about keeping Leech from being arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's been around. He knows them.
Yeah, he's clearly he makes the rounds, it seems.
Yeah.
Cowboy shows up from time. Cowboy's not part of the principal group in that he doesn't wait with them because maybe Cowboy's not himself an addict. It's weird, right? No, I agree. I think it's left in a very interesting space. Like Cowboy is presented like I went into this kind of assuming it was going to be like Waiting for Godot, where Cowboy was never going to really show up, or that Cowboy would show up at the end and it would be kind of a silhouette in the door and you would be unclear as to whether this is Cowboy or is this the cops or are they just all going to die, right?
Wow.
But none of those things happen, listeners.
Oh yeah, they
Spoiler
all
alert.
Share an OD.
Right.
And in their last DMT fueled moments on this earth, they hallucinate Cowboy together.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, that is bleak,
Isn't
Nate.
it? Well, hey, look, I'm bleak. Come on. But no, instead, this story is so hopeful and so communal. Like it's so driven by the idea that these people all care about each other and that they are not. This is not like, ooh, there's an evil drug dealer and ooh, there are these stupid, broken, disgusting addicts. It's like, no, these are all human beings with a very like capitalistic sort of engagement of, hey, I need a thing, you bring the thing. But the beauty of Cowboy's like, hey, look, he administers. He's
very responsible.
And you drop the ad off of that and he is a minister and he comes in with a nun. So he is a godly figure. He's framed that way, right? He appears, he gives them heaven that they need, that they've been longing for, and he doesn't give them too much. He knows their limits. And the only person who has a hard time with that is Leech, who ironically is the character everybody else leeches off of other than the time when he just cannot get anything out of one dose of heroin and demands more.
Yeah, which I thought was very realistic. But before we get too far into that, I had not really thought about the heavenly aspect, the minister aspect. I actually didn't think that he legitimately had any association with the church, especially because at the end when he gets like riled up by the director and he's like, I have to come up with these crazy ways to get around at night. Like every night I'm trying not to get caught, so I have to come up with these crazy ways. And it seemed like he had just met the nun on the street and had brought her up. And I was like, oh, that was like a disguise. But now that you're saying that, there's like a Revelation connection, right? Behold, a rider on a pale horse, white pony.
Yeah.
Heroin,
ooh, yeah. Interesting.
and an excellent Deftones album.
Yeah, I think it's a thematic issue that they're saying like he is God to them. And so he comes with
Yeah.
a nun in this specific moment. But I agree with you that I would assume this is a PR move. He saw an
Yeah.
opportunity to have cover for the night, and he could be like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna go help these people out," because that appears to be the cover for the whole thing. Is he takes them into the bathroom or the
Yeah.
back bedroom or whatever it is,
To
and he shoots
baptize them.
everybody
It's
up.
labeled toilet,
It's
Nate.
labeled
It is
toilet. I know,
labeled toilet.
but when the door opens a couple of times, it goes way back.
Oh
I
yeah,
know
but
it's a
there's a toilet on
stage
the far
toilet,
wall.
but still. But yeah, so he's using it as a cover. He's using
Oh, you're
her to
totally
be
right.
like, I'm
Yeah.
going to help these people in need. And it's just all, it's all kind of this long con thing. It's like, how do we keep this going? Well, surely no one would, if she stands up for me, if this nun comes
Mm,
and says, hey, he was good. I went with him around town. He helped all these people.
right.
That's going to get him off the hook one more time, right? So there is a whole lot of conniving, but the cool thing about this movie is nothing explodes in like a wanton bloodbath or like bacchanal of criminality. It's literally just like people waiting and being sad, people having
Hmm.
a moment of peace, followed by starting to become sad and waiting again.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I
And
think
ain't that life, folks?
it is
Sorry.
absolutely. And Leech taking another dose and ODing, but not dying, and it not being a massive dramatic like don't do drugs, kids moment is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I I really loved how, I mean, like you said, Cowboy administered the drugs, except for this one scene with Leech. Because for the whole third act of the movie, Leech is like, I can't feel anything. I can't feel anything, which, girl, same. Uh,
Welcome to the
and
club.
right, yeah. Leech, I've got bad news. That's depression, baby. So when he's like begging for this, Cowboy is like, no, you've had enough. And he even says, like, I haven't felt that in 10 years. Like, it has been 10 years since I felt that.
Yeah.
So he understands that. So even when he's like, no, you can't do this, it's like a leveling, like I'm not withholding this from you. It's just like it sucks ass. And that's how it is. And then when Leech ODs, it's Cowboy who saves him. But I loved that he was the one administering the drugs. However, early in my notes when that was happening, I was like, I just know they're fucking sharing a needle back there. I just know it. But they weren't, because after Leech like throws Cowboy's envelope down and it breaks his needle, he's like, that was my last, what did he call it? My last
yeah,
stab.
yeah.
Or he had like cool lingo for it. And then another of the guys was like, well, give it to me, I'll do it. And he's like, no, you can't have any more. That was my last needle. Like, oh, we're being safe.
Yeah.
Apart from the heroin.
Right, sure. Yeah.
But like harm reduction.
Yeah.
Harm reduction.
Exactly. To go back to the music, since I forgot to mention this part, but there's only one other kind of diegetic music in the movie, which is occasionally a man walks in with a turntable, plugs it
Yeah.
into the overhead light bulb outlet, and starts playing the song Marmaduke by Charlie Parker. And then
What
they
does that
will
mean?
like boo him out of there because they don't want him to do it.
Yeah.
And then he leaves. And I think he comes back 3 total times. Because he comes.
I missed the second one then.
Okay, maybe it was only
Or
2.
maybe the first. I definitely caught the third.
Because he comes in the first act and he tries to set up and they all shoo him away.
Yeah.
And they
You're
start
gonna
playing
ruin
their
that
own
record,
music.
man. Yeah.
And then at very least, at the end, the way the whole thing finishes off is he comes in and sets up. We get a different camera angle on our situation.
Yes.
We have a high
Yes.
downward camera angle.
The first time.
That is the first time it's not clearly implied to be a handheld by the person who is filming.
Yeah.
And we see him start the music playing, it begins to cue, and then our stage lights drop.
But it's like a long scene. The music is playing and all of the addicts, now including the director, are just they've gone back to waiting. We're back to square one.
Yes. Oh, and that's the other great thing is the director gets dared into taking some heroin, and
That
because
was
he
my only
thinks,
real problem.
yeah. No, I mean it is the thing that's least plausible about the movie, but it's also a really compelling twist to throw in of like, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
guy thinks that he is so above everybody here that he is willing to sort of go, oh, well, surely I, as the person controlling the circumstances of the day, because I'm filming this and I'm directing you to behave the ways that I want you to behave, I will be able to handle this and emerge unscathed. And he's thinking like, oh, this is a Veritas thing. I need to be, if I do it, this movie will be more real. And instead it's like, oh,
Yeah.
no, now he's done. And it is, I think, poorly executed how he
Oh.
very quickly turns and is just like, nope, you take the camera. It's your stuff. I'm just here now. But it was also cool because it has like a haunted house energy in that moment. Just this like, no, I've always been here. I've never
Oh.
been a director.
Mhm.
This thing has me. It will always have me. It never didn't have me. So take the camera and go.
Well, damn, maybe this was horror. Maybe this was a horror movie.
It's a little bit.
Because I think that was what stood out to me about that was like, it's all, this is in us all. This could happen to any of us. Like, you're not above it. It's like, you know how everybody, God, sorry, I'm going to be a bummer for a second. We can cut it out.
No.
You know how
We're leaving it
everybody
in.
is like so judgmental of homeless people?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that could never be me. Girl, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Yes, it could be. Yes, it could be. So fast. One medical emergency. And that's sort of how this felt. Like, you're not that far away from being in this situation. And the people who are in this situation are people with lives and intricate inner lives. Like, they're not all, you can't paint them all with one brush.
Absolutely. It makes me think of a meme that I've seen a few times recently that's just like, hey, are you 2 good weeks from being a millionaire? Are you 2 bad weeks from not being able to pay your rent? And that's
Right.
the that's
Right.
the that's the defining circumstance, right? And it's like, yeah, if you're one time trying something like this, one time shooting up heroin away from
Yeah.
being a heroin addict who now has a very difficult road
Mm-hmm.
for or with opioids, right? If you're a person who just like your doctor told you should take this and you did, and now you're
Right.
fucking hooked on it because there is a runaway pharmaceutical family of murderers that get away with paying $50 and pretending that they're not going to do it ever again. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. I think what's so brilliant about this, because I was legit astonished. I went into watching it thinking this is going to be fine, but I bet I'm going to get really bored.
Same. Especially when Leech comes out overacting. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
here we
it was
go.
very big at first. It was also just I was biased because I was like, it's 61. Nobody really says it's very good. It doesn't look like it made any money or a cultural impact,
Yeah.
whatever, right? Like it didn't have any of the usual hallmarks. And then watching it, you're like, wow, how is it that
Yeah.
how is it that 63 years ago,
Jesus Christ.
a more progressive film about most of these
Good
things
point.
was released than what we can muster now from Hollywood or anything else, even independent,
Yep.
right? Like this was
Yep.
nuanced about race. It was new. I mean, the only thing that it did not do effectively was have women in it at all. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but it has a
And
female director
interestingly,
in
directed by a
1961.
woman.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right?
Well, because women weren't allowed to be jazz musicians. So,
Oh,
that's fair. That's fair.
but yeah, written by a man. The play won a ton of awards.
that makes sense.
Yeah. It was really just the movie. And the movie was receiving um a lot of good feedback. Like, went to Cannes, went to what's the other big film festival in Italy, I think. Whatever. Went to another big
Mhm.
one, and people loved it. And then when it ran into the obscenity laws in New York and they weren't able to screen it as liberally as they wanted to, then
Oh.
it started getting negative feedback. And so it was this, and then they went to court over it.
Yes. Yeah, there was a huge deal about that. Because it was great in Cannes. They used the word shit in the movie.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, you can't do that.
What the
That's
shit?
vulgar.
But in fairness, I think that's one of those like smoke screeny reasons, right?
Oh,
They're
absolutely.
like, oh, hey, this
Absolutely.
movie is humanizing the very people that we need to destroy and
Right.
demonize. So what can we get them on?
Yeah. Well,
this
and
is no longer an
even-
artistic expression because you're using this word a lot. And the quibble about it was that they never use it scatologically, which was the only reason why it was banned in like the film code, in the Hays Code. So
yeah, they were like, but they're talking about drugs, not poop. So
yeah,
let them play it. Oh, okay. That's not what I would have expected, but fine.
Yeah, so the like appellate court of New York said, oh, it's vulgar, but it can't be called obscene. Like we cannot rule this is an obscene thing that can be banned.
Yeah.
So it got away for that reason on that brilliant bit of just, loophole-y nonsense.
But before that, like police would come to showings to break it up because they didn't have the license to show it because of the S word. So like, wow, that's bonkers. That's bonkers. And I guess that case and this film as a consequence are now like taught in schools in multiple ways, not just I think probably more in like arts film courses than necessarily legal, but who knows? Maybe both. Yeah.
I think it should be shown to more people. I think it's really excellent. Like I think it's a really good movie. It was a very enjoyable experience. It surprised me. Anytime a movie does something like this where instead of following all the tropes that you expect it to follow based on the content, it doesn't. And instead, the important thing about the playing Charlie Parker's Marmaduke at the end of the movie.
Yes, explain that to me.
Charlie Parker dies of heroin overdose. Like Charlie Parker is a young jazz victim of heroin addiction. So there's this
specter of death hanging over them.
Yeah, I think that's I didn't even think about it until you just said it, but I think that's exactly what it is. I think the reason why the guy comes in and starts to play it, it's a warning. Like,
I just got goosebumps. Oh my God.
It's a warning. It's like, hey guys, you don't want to be like Charlie. And they all rush him out. They're like, no, we don't want to hear that.
And then they don't rush him out at the end. What does that mean?
Because they're all going to fucking wait to die now.
Yeah,
well, that's...
I'm so sad.
I think that's the cool who knows ending to the movie. It's like, they could do this forever. It's entirely possible that after that fades to black, they shoo him away again. And we don't get that far into Marmaduke. But maybe if they listen to the whole song, that is the end. I don't know. But it's really interesting. It's really artful, and it's a really fucking beautiful movie. And it's silly that a much less beautiful, much less artful movie is the one that most people think is the first found footage film.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, oh no, I was going to defend Blair Witch. Never mind. I have no good words about Cannibal Holocaust.
I will make my defenses of Cannibal Holocaust.
I have one defense of Cannibal Holocaust.
Great.
We'll get there.
So
before we move on, I do want to say you guys haven't heard me talk very much during this, and I will openly admit that I only watched the first 20 minutes because I then got a splitting migraine.
Oh no, you only watched the bad part.
No, but the good news is I was like, you know what? I'm going to go into the episode and I'm going to act like a listener, and I'm going to listen to Kelly and Nate, and I'm going to see if I want to watch this movie. And you guys have convinced me wholeheartedly that I need to finish this movie.
It's good.
I enjoyed the part that I watched, but all of a sudden I was like, if I keep my eyes open, I will throw up on everything. So I was like,
how far did you get?
About 20 minutes in.
What was going on?
The last thing I remember is Leech was corrosive, and there was like a part where he was like, "You're corrosive."
Yes. Oh my God. Oh God.
Yeah.
I wrote that down too because I was like, corrosive is exactly the right word. They were, for the home listener, they were popping the boil on his neck that Nate alluded to earlier because it's been causing him pain, and they like held him down and popped his boil, and nobody washed their hands first, and they just used their fingers instead of lancing it. And by the way, do not lance your boils or your blisters. that is protective. That's your body protecting a wound.
Yeah.
I was so
Consult a
stressed out.
physician. Do not do that yourself.
God. I hope that when Cowboy administered his dose of heroin, I'm sure that he cleansed his arm before he did it, because so far he's been a very careful drug dealer. I hope that he was like, while we're back there.
Cowboy gives off a doctor energy. Like he
Yeah,
comes
he's
in,
very,
he gives off a Hollywood energy too. He comes in, he's well dressed,
He's fresh
he's
to
wearing
death.
sunglasses.
Yeah.
He doesn't take the sunglasses off until he is angered, at which point we see his eyes to know that he fucking means business.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. You gotta watch it. It's so good. And yeah, the boil scene is disgusting. He's
so
wearing like a
gross.
handkerchief over it. They're doing like, it's very low budget stagecraft stuff. So they're just like, oh, there's something under my handkerchief that no one will ever see. And then they lance the boil. He kind of runs off with his hand over, and then he just puts the same handkerchief back around to cover it. So you know that's disgusting. It's at least covered with
Band-aid
neck
on.
sweat.
He puts a Band-Aid on.
Oh, no, you're right. He does. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a Band-Aid and a sweaty hanky.
Sweaty hanky.
Sweaty hanky.
Gross.
Ugh. He does take it off just before the director really starts entering the action. And I think that was because the director was wearing an ascot. And they were like, the audience is going to get these two white guys confused.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And the only one can be wearing an ascot.
Well, and effectively, like, Leach is sort of directing the audience experience of the monologues. He's the one who's like, here, welcome to, for lack of a better thing, like, he kind of does the, like, he's in the kitchen and he turns to camera and he's like, oh, hello there.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know
he's
that
very
you were
narrator.
here. Yeah, it has that sort of, let's usher you into this situation. He walks around, he's like, this is my apartment, and it's not much, but it's pretty good. And all these layabouts are always taking my space and never paying me back for anything.
Yeah, he kept insisting it was clean, and I was like, Is it?
It is also like, if the movie was in color rather than black and white, the vibe would be even grosser, I think. I think that the black and whiteness is forcing, like, being in contrast at least like splashes enough white around essentially that you're like, oh, well, this must be kind of clean. But you can tell that it's like old slat wood floors, like there are big gaps. It looks drafty and damp.
Oh, yeah,
and horrible. It's sheltered,
it looks
but
like
it's
smells.
barely. Yes.
It looks like it smells big. Well, there's an open boil in there, so it for sure does. But okay, so this is earlier when you said that it didn't really work for you when the director does heroin and then just sort of gives up. So there's a segment between the heroin and the giving over control of the movie to JJ, which is him back with the handy cam. So there are two cameras in this movie. There's the one that our like primary cameraman is holding, and he's the one who, within the conceit of the found footage, puts the footage together to present it. And then sometimes the director also has a handy cam. So after he does heroin and vomits, after he like gets himself together a little bit, he goes back to filming, but this time instead of focusing on the people, he's focusing on the setting.
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of close-ups of those gaps in the floor, of the broken window, of the graffiti scrawled on the wall. And I thought that was really interesting because now he's no longer watching the people in that like proscenium stage way that we were talking about before. Now he's in the action. I thought that was a really clever way to do it. And that's something that you can't do on the stage. I was like, I see why we made movies. Like,
I shouldn't have said it didn't work for me so much as it was a moment where it felt like the film was saying something that ran counter to what it was saying briefly. And it might just be in the performance of the actor playing the director.
Maybe.
Because I loved the fact that, okay, great, he's so hubristic, he's gonna shoot up too because he thinks like, fine, this is just part of me making sure that I'm making the best movie possible. And then he has
I don't even know if I agree with that. Go on.
Well, maybe he doesn't. But they didn't really like pressure him into doing it. He sort of accepted after being offered, which is
they they just kind of ribbed him. There was a line, I wonder if I wrote it down. Um it doesn't look like I did, but they said something about how, like, how can you make a movie about something you don't understand? And the director eventually was like, it does feel kind of gross to just like peep on people. So I think that it was less about like hubris. And I mean, I do think that there was some of that, but I don't think that it was like raw and solely hubris. I think part of him was like, I mean, cinema verite, like you said earlier.
Yeah,
I think that that's really what it comes down to. Is he's like, I have to live my art, which is what all of these jazz musicians are doing.
That's what,
So it's
absolutely.
like, it was in you. You just had to do it that one time, which I don't think is how heroin works, by the way.
It just felt like in a movie that was so earnest, it felt like a kind of clumsy way of saying to the audience without saying to the audience, hey, you judge these people thinking that you're better than them, but literally one time and you'd be just like them. Yeah, and I don't disagree with that sentiment. Fair. I just think that maybe the way it was executed exactly didn't quite land for me. I do love what you said about the handy cam thing because, and I didn't really clock it at the time in the same way, but as we've been discussing, it's like, yeah, he said, it feels weird to peep on people, and his immediate reaction is to no longer peep on people. Now he is fixated on weird minutia of the space that he's in, which also serves to illustrate just how dilapidated the place actually is for the viewing audience, because they are seeing it from a stagey way. And now it's like, no, this is actually worse than you think. And this also shows, like, look at how sort of laser focused and granular this person has become. He went from being this big idea guy who wants people to behave in a certain way to now he can't even like draw the lens toward the subject that he intended to film anymore.
Right, because now he's the subject. So we're just getting his experience. Yeah, I thought that the way they used the camera angles in this was so interesting. Like that, and then like we talked about at the end where this is the only time in the movie that we get a camera angle from above looking down on these people. The rest of the movie, if it's the director filming, we're like looking pretty dead on, like eye to eye with whoever's monologuing. When it's JJ, the normal cameraman,
we're a little low.
It's low. Yeah. It's so low. He's looking up at these people. And those monologues, imagine being in a movie theater with the camera angle so low and they're like looking down at you in the audience. That was so fascinating to me. Like that is another great way to like bring the audience into the space with you.
And it's also interesting because you're having these side conversations where they're talking to JJ. They're kind of consulting on it. It becomes clear through the film that all the musicians, addicts, people in this space respect JJ because they see him as someone who...
Well, he knew them.
Oh, yeah. That too.
He lived in Harlem with a couple of them when they were younger.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny because he comes out and he's like, with his like weird transatlantic Shakespearean accent, he's like, hello, my name is JJ and I am from Harlem. Like, are you?
Yeah. That actor was one of the grandfathers, I think, on the Cosby Show for several years. He was in a lot of stuff off and on, and he's just like, that voice, it's a hell of a voice.
Iconic.
That's just one of those like, holy shit voices. So cool.
Yeah. From the get-go, we like the opening scene of the movie isn't really a scene. It's not a title card. Whatever. One of those things that you see in found footage at the beginning where it's like, I'm JJ and I found this footage and I put it together.
Yeah, it's like so a Chiron.
The first voice you hear,
yeah,
is him explaining, and I was like, "Ooh, velvety!"
Right? So velvety. The actor's name is Roscoe Lee Brown.
Damn, that's a good name.
It's a good name, right? It's a real good name.
Fucking Roscoe Lee Brown.
Roscoe Lee Brown.
Damn.
So yeah, everybody see this movie, see The Connection, watch it on Kanopy, get a library card if you don't, or I don't know where else you can find it. It's kind of hard to find otherwise, so you should probably
It
watch it
is,
from your local library.
And you always, if you don't already have a library card, definitely get one just because you need support.
Yep.
Yeah.
You need support.
It's free. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Go get one. Did you read that Shirley Clark fell in love with one of the actors?
Aw.
Specifically Cowboy.
That's very
And then
sweet.
they were together for 30 years until she passed away.
I love that. I love that so much.
They met on set. I love it. Isn't that sweet?
That kind of makes sense because the lens loves him very much.
Oh,
like it is obvious that there is you feel the little hearts flying out of the camera lens.
We're caressing him the whole time.
Because he's the most glamorous figure in the whole film, right?
Like, for sure, hands down.
He embodies perhaps the essence of the cool that is supposed to be coming with this thing.
Big time.
Yeah. So
and
cool.
He's got he's got charisma. He commands a room. Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so a full 19 years later, a movie called Cannibal Holocaust comes out in 1980. And a lot of people think, oh, this is the first found footage movie because it features a lot of found footage conceit stuff. It's definitely a found footage film. The first third, I think the first act, maybe the first half of the film is kind of, we start with basically people watching a news story on a TV in a window when stores used to have stacks of TVs that were all showing you stuff.
So, I didn't watch much of this movie, but I just have I watched that part and there was an interesting thing I noticed, which is that it was the way that they mixed the sound. So as the movie starts, you're watching the newscast, like you said, and it's coming out of both left and right sides of the audio mix. And then when they are watching it on the TV screen, the camera is like parallel to the stack of TVs, and the audio is only coming out of the left side.
No.
So it's like you are facing away from it, and then as the camera turns, it centers again. And I was like, oh,
fun.
That's neat.
Yeah, they do some fun.
Sorry, go on.
There's legit some there are some things to defend about this. There are also some things that are deeply problematic about this that don't hold up and probably should never have been filmed or exist. But yeah, so the movie starts with this where we're getting an initial found footage vibe, which is we're watching footage of a group of U.S. Young, probably 20-somethings U.S. documentarians. They are going into the Amazon to find a hidden tribe of cannibals. And this newsreel is basically lauding them as these incredible filmmakers, and they've gone everywhere and done everything. And it's very much like oh, aren't you afraid? And the woman's like, no, we've done plenty of scary stuff. This is going to be fine. Da da da. Right? It's all kind of expositional junk that's really well done, and it kind of sets it up. I was like, oh, is this movie going to be good? I really was watching, going like, this movie might be good. Then we jump to basically this character named Harold Monroe, played by Robert Kerman, who is an anthropologist, and he is leading a rescue team of people who are going into the rainforest to try to find out what happened to these adorable 20-something filmmakers who were changing the world. One of them's blonde. He's got a mustache. There's a lady.
There's a lady.
There's a guy with dark hair. There's a shorter guy with dark hair. It's amazing.
That's all the types of guys.
It's true.
We've got all the types of guys.
Every single guy available in this movie. So this anthropologist goes down there. He's very professorial. We are presented with the idea that, like, okay, well, he is going to ground this movie. That's at least initially the thought. And they're going into the jungle. They're going, he's doing his voice recorder, talking about what's going on. He's making a lot of snide doctoral, like professorial assessments of things, like, oh, these people over here are blah blah blah, and they do this and that, right? There's a lot of, again, exposition to establish this guy knows what he's talking about, because all he has to do is see a brown person in the jungle and he knows exactly what they are and what they're up to. Lots of very colonial, inaccurate, faux sciencey kind of shit. as they go deeper and deeper into the jungle to find them, they keep witnessing various like kinds of atrocities. Most horribly and notably is they watch from, I assume, like maybe 50 yards away, a
Not
woman
that
be
far.
dragged naked out of a boat and raped
Do
until
remember
she
this.
dies of being raped. And our anthropologist, our hero, air quote, listener, I'm putting big wiggly air quotes over this hero
Can
thing.
confirm he is legitimately doing that.
He's sitting there with his two guides who are supposed to be maybe Brazilian or indigenous or something, and they
Yeah.
want to get up and do something. And he says, no, no. If you interrupt it, he'll go back in shame and his tribe will kill him. So
Well,
then
fucking good.
the movie devotes what feels like an eternity to watching this rape occur
Yeah.
until she dies of
That's
being raped and then is dragged naked and muddy back into a boat.
okay.
It's awful. It is literally like
That
if you
is
took the worst 45 seconds of The Evil Dead and were like, what if
yeah.
this was like a 20-minute set piece in a movie?
Oh God.
There is no virtue to it. It doesn't have a plot explanation or reason either. It's weird because initially I thought, oh, is this the young woman from the film crew? It is proven that no, in fact, this is
Oh.
not. This is another white woman who is
Well,
just
how'd she get out here?
being assaulted
Okay.
with like a big with like a wooden stake
An
penis
item.
thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's awful. It is
And
terribly, horribly disgusting.
so that's when I stopped watching.
Sure.
As the rape was getting started, when it became clear that the guys weren't going to do anything,
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, you know what? I could power through this, but why? I'll
No.
just read the internet.
Yeah.
What they say about it. I don't need to experience this. Like I stopped watching American Horror Story because of all the sexual violence, and this is
Yeah.
like way
This
worse
is
than that.
hinging on that.
But I will say I wouldn't say that this was funny in terms of what was happening in the movie, but this was funny in terms of writing.
Mm.
Like the guy raping the woman lifts up that whatever that item is, and I guess this must have been the professory guy who was like, that looks like a ritual tool that they would use to punish someone for adultery.
Yes.
And I was like, that's very specific. That's a very specific observation you've made. And
yeah.
and then once it started happening, I was like, oh, okay. So we've got a lot going on here. And the first part made me roll my eyes in like an endearing way. And then now what we're doing, I'm gonna jump ship. I don't need this in my brain.
In fairness to the horrible writers of this movie, they do manage to call that very thing back later, because
great.
there is a woman who is skewered on a pike, and
I've heard
one of the
about
filmmakers one of the disappeared filmmakers says the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it seems like she was punished for doing something adulterous. Like this is it becomes at best reading an assessment of white men just being like, oh,
And their
women just deserve
opinion
it when it happens.
of women.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the most favorable reading I can give those aspects of the movie.
Yeah.
So after this horrible rape scene, they proceed
Which
further.
is it legitimately 20 minutes? You said it was long?
It was probably like 8. It was too long.
Jesus
it was
Christ.
Too long.
Oh my God.
It was
Okay.
It was enough that like I left the room.
Yeah.
I came back to the room after time had passed. It was still going, and I was like,
Jesus.
all right, I'm just gonna like, I'm not looking at this. I muted.
Yeah.
I waited until it appeared to be a different scene, and then I was back. Yeah.
God, I was even watching on 1.5 speed, and I was like, this is going on
Yeah. No, it's
a long time.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm out.
This movie's lustful gaze when it comes to violence, both sexual and otherwise, is the most disturbing part of it and the most irredeemable part of it, because it doesn't really like, especially given the message at the end of the movie. And I'll just jump there.
Which
Fuck
is?
it.
Yeah,
the message,
please do.
the message at
Cannibalism,
the end of the
yum, yum.
movie is our anthropologist guy, after finding the footage that the documentarians made, which is as bad or worse than what I've just described. It is like a montage of what are the worst things that white people could do.
Wait, it's white people who are doing the bad?
Yes. That's the ingenious turn of the movie. The cannibal holocaust is rather that they
were holocausting
they
the cannibals.
intentionally herded this entire tribe of people into one of their homes and lit it on fire to make their movie, thus creating a holocaust.
Lord.
They also
Okay.
The four guys all rape one indigenous woman in the movie while the woman watches, and she protests, but her protests quickly turn to, we don't have enough film to waste it on this, rather than don't do it because it's wrong. It's
And was she not just trying to barter with them? Like, let me say something that will convince them to stop?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
She keeps getting into, it's like, it's very, anyway, the message at the end of the movie that the professor says after he's watched all of this, and this like TV network or something wants to release all of it so that people can see what was there.
Oh,
He's
God.
like, well, because what they do is he comes back, he finds that they have all been killed because he finds all of their skeletons wrapped up in this very sort of displayed kind of ornamental way, and the camera is still there, as well as the reels of film. So he barters with the remaining people. He gains their trust initially by completely disrobing and bathing nude in the water until, like, I don't know, 12 underage girls come and herd around him, and then they wrestle for a little bit and they play with his flaccid penis, which is also something else. Because they're like batting at it like a kitten with yarn. Literally, like that's the scene.
Weird.
He gains their trust, and then
do you think they had an intimacy coach on set? Or?
I think the idea that there was any oversight of any kind on the set is unlikely. Definitely not.
Yeah.
But he uses the gain trust to get all the footage back. He takes it back. They're like, hey, we want to release this. He says, hey, I'm a professor. If anybody should review this, let me review it first, because we should make sure that there isn't something that's objectionable for people. Which
he's like, I already saw that thing on the beach. I don't think you're gonna like what's in here.
That is the framing that you're going on, is like, okay, this guy's gonna find out what other horrible shit the people indigenous to the Amazon did to them, and instead you watch the four men rape an indigenous woman. You watch them like shoot people at random and harass them and round them up and kick them and all this other like horrible shit. You watch them slaughter a turtle that also goes on for like 8 minutes, where I believe it's actually a real turtle.
It's a real turtle. They're in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah. The muskrat too at the beginning, right?
Yes, they do. Yeah, so they kill some animals. There's a lot of just like gross, again, like very lovingly gazing upon the viscera and the horrors of this.
Lots of lingering.
And
it's like how Shirley Clark was caressing Cowboy in The Connection.
Yes, but
with gross
what if
stuff?
that was used for evil?
Right.
And then and after all of these horrible things that they have done, they decide that they got to up the ante to make this documentary interesting, because they don't feel like these cannibals are violent enough for their documentary to be cool. So they round them up and burn dozens upon dozens of them in a hut and film it. And as they are camping the next day, laughing it up, yucking it up because they made a great film again, a bunch of people come in the night and fuck them up. And they get dragged away. And of course, unfortunately, again, the one female member of the group is the one who has to be sexually violated and murdered, while the guys just get chopped up. And so what you do is you go from a movie that started with, hey, we're watching the news, to now we're watching in real time this guy go back there, to now he's watching footage from that.
Play within a play. Classic.
The act turn is that the latter horrible stuff comes when we watch some of it with him. We see some bad stuff, the turtle, I think specifically. And then he's in the boardroom. They're like, okay, cool. So what did you think? Can we release it? And he's like, we can't. And they're like, look, we have a lot riding on this. Capitalism. Let us release this. Why can't we? And he says, if you want to release it, I'm not taking the burden. You have to sit and watch this with me, and then you can decide if you want to. So then now we're in a screening room in the movie. They are watching. They watch all of that horrible shit happen. We watch it with them. We cut to these. There's a female executive and a male executive, and then this anthropologist guy. We see everybody, those two new viewers, disgusted and despondent. He seems horrified, but also proud that he managed to dissuade them from wanting to release it. And then the movie effectively ends with like they decide not to, and he's walking out having this thoughtful monologue about how, who really were the cannibals.
Yeah, I've got an idea.
And that's the end message. The end message of the movie is like, hey, you came assuming that this was going to be a Holocaust perpetrated by cannibals, when it in fact was the kind of Holocaust that happens most normally, which is white people.
It does sound like maybe they were trying to do an anti-colonialism thing.
Yeah.
So we're okay with that part, but most of it, no thank you.
There's a lot that I think we could do differently. I have notes. I've got notes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I honestly, I think it maybe was the relief of it being over, that when that line happened, I was like, oh shit. This movie was like trying to do a good thing? ?
Yeah.
And it left me thinking like, huh. So there is something vaguely redemptive to that. I will say this. The structure of it is very inventive. There aren't a lot of movies
for sure
that take you through so many different rides. It does Rashomon level things where like you think you have the story. You think you know that these are 4 intrepid documentarians who were murdered, and then you go, oh, they weren't. That wasn't actually what happened at all. It was they provoked them somehow. And then you find out like, oh no, they like were the worst possible people. They were the most disgusting types of human beings available in any circumstance.
Now, am I remembering correctly that the director of this is Italian? This sounds like I'm gearing up to be racist. I swear I'm not.
They are. It is Ruggero Deodato.
Okay. So here's what I think. Part of what I think happened. So Italian, there's a genre of Italian horror movies called giallos.
Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of those start with a rape and then the woman seeks revenge. And so this feels like following that same thread, but culturally instead of a single individual. And yet they were still like, but we can't skip the rape though.
Yeah.
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah.
So I guess I see how that evolved. I hate it.
Yeah, it's one of the nicknames for the director is Monsieur Cannibal.
Sure, it would be.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on. I mean, this movie screams edgelord of the earliest established possibility, right?
Big time.
There's definitely,
it's like, oh, did I make you uncomfortable?
Yeah. Because it is doing like, it is. I mean, here's the thing. Like, it is compelling that the movie plays on misconceptions. In 1980, a bunch of people hear Amazonian tribe, and they assume these people are savages who do horrible stuff. The movie then presents you that thing. So you think about a third of the way through that you were correct. This is a movie about savages who are awful. And then it goes, nope. Actually, it's these kids who were the awful savages. And
he like pulls a curtain off the mirror. Yeah. He's like, ha, gotcha, motherfucker.
Yeah. And like, is there virtue in that sort of investigation? Absolutely, conceptually.
Yeah.
In the execution of this, I don't get physically ill from horror movies. I mean, I am not the connoisseur that either of you are, for sure. Okay, I'm not on Never Show the Monster. I am a occasional guest.
We should have you back, though. Should we do
listener.
Cannibal Holocaust?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Let's definitely spend another 2 hours talking about this. But no, I mean, it takes a lot, because I can suspend disbelief on gore and things and go like, ooh, that's bracing, but I know that it's not real. This was very much like, for one, as Chelsea noted, it's a real turtle and it's real animals. Like, they're really killing stuff. It also just doesn't seem like there is no artfulness to any of the violence to make it feel stylized. It feels just like aggressively actually happening in front of you. And I get that maybe that's important in a way, because it really says, like, look, if you think that this is like a movie, maybe that's his thing. Maybe he's making a commentary on giallo films and being like, look, you think that these stylized rapes where everything splashes, like the lens splashes with red and we get dramatic shadows and stuff, you think that makes it okay, but guess what? This is what it actually would be. But I don't want to watch
8 minutes though.
I don't want to watch.
Because
all told, there's probably 20 minutes in the movie. 20 minutes of what is like an hour and 40-minute movie that is just women being sexually assaulted.
Yeah, I don't like
while
that.
you watch,
that's a lot.
while the camera refuses to move, really. It just is like, here.
Yeah.
So, would not recommend.
Yeah.
Nope.
I feel like, God. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Based on this discussion, I feel like there were some good ideas. There were some good ideas in the room. In the pitch meeting, there were some good ideas, and that's how it got greenlit. And then there was nobody on set to be like, cut. Like, stop.
Yeah,
stop all of this.
And that's the thing. Like, the only defense I can give it is that there are ideas here. And when we watch so many movies where it's like, there's no idea here. There's just like, we have pretty people, we have a budget, and we're going to do a thing that people have seen. There are ideas here. But man, like,
not all ideas are good. Not all ideas are good.
This is a very weird position to be in, where I'm like, I don't fully regret watching this, because it is one of those things where, like, okay, I've heard about this my whole life. I have now consumed the 80-something% of it that I sat through and watched intently. And I turned away from the rest, and I never need to look at it again. And I know that I can speak to it with, like, I understand the nuance. I understand the complexity. I also don't think that you can excuse any of this.
Yeah. God, how many people are watching it in the complete inverse of how we watched it? Like, how many people are fast forwarding through the exposition just to get to the gruesome bits?
Gross.
Yeah, that's a horrible thought.
Those are the bad. Those are the not good people.
Yeah.
Those are the people.
No, those are bad people.
Ugh.
Ugh, yuck. So my question was, at what cost?
Exactly. At what cost? So I will just say that is acknowledged to be the first found footage film in most places. It is not. The Connection is. Connection is a good movie. See that.
Watch Connection.
Yes.
You can skip Cannibal Holocaust unless you just, hey, if you're doing a podcast, look, if you're doing
Even
after
then,
debut
don't
buddies,
do it.
if you're doing a debut buddies post show and you have to do it because we did it, then I support you. Send us an email. I would love to meet you, but I don't.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
So I recommend watching it how I watched it. I watched it
during our fucked up movies phase.
Yeah, so about 14 years ago.
10 years ago. Yeah, no, you're right.
14 years ago. And
closer to 16.
Yeah, it's some time ago. And,
no, 14.
Yeah,
you're right.
And I watched it on my grandma's kitchen table on my laptop. And I had downloaded it from something, don't know where. And it was a tiny box this big. I couldn't get bigger, and it was in terrible quality. So I got lucky because it was in terrible quality.
That is a safe way to watch it, because you're mostly dealing with a lot of screaming and struggling noises, but you're not seeing the stuff.
Yeah, it just kind of like was like really blurry. Like if you were looking at it was as if it was filmed on a phone from the early 2000s.
Potato? Is this a potato?
Yeah, it's a potato. And I was like, I can get through this because it was a potato. I think if it wasn't on a potato, I would have struggled more.
I hear you. I feel like most of the fucked up movies we watched, I watched on an iPod screen.
That sounds about right.
Would I have gotten through them if not that?
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, yikes. I will. So the one thing I was going to defend about the movie is that the director has stated publicly he regrets killing those animals.
Well, good.
More power to you for
Well,
at
but
least
does he
speaking to
regret it
some of
because
it.
he regrets it, or does he regret it because of the backlash?
Probably because of the courts and the fines.
Yeah, that's more.
Yeah, it's
Because
probably
he seemed like somebody that made some choices.
The killing of the turtle has no narrative purpose. Like, it literally doesn't. They don't need to eat it. They're not doing anything other than they can, and so they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is, and that alone, I don't understand how, as actors, you could be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So we just take this living thing and murder it while you film us? And we act like we're into it, and we play with its guts and stuff? And what is this about?
This is why we need unions.
Well, yeah. We need a lot of things. Let's be honest. We need a lot of things.
We need someone to go back in time and either tell this director, hey, you need to not do these scenes and it'll be a good movie. Or you could not make this movie and it'll help a lot more people out.
You could skip it.
Yeah.
Yes,
hear me out.
Need it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm from 2024.
Yeah. Bad idea.
And the people there do not like this.
Did not age well. It did not age well after it came out immediately.
Are you interested in a legacy?
And I'm not talking about a Subaru legacy, which you could buy if you made more movies by not making this.
In fact, I own a Subaru legacy.
Boom.
That's what's up. It's not that expensive. You don't have to make a movie to get a Subaru legacy.
But, I mean, I think you got to make more than this movie. This did not make that much money.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, and I'm not burdened by legal fees because the people thought that I killed an actress.
Do you know what you are burdened by, though, Kelly?
Well, I can think of a number of things. What?
The MouthGarf Report.
The MouthGarf Report. Open wide for some lasagna. I hate Mondays.
Oh, I don't know that I have news, but I have a question for you, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Did we find out what's going on with your Invisalign?
Yeah, I'm still I'm not gonna know until they're gonna take off my nubbins, put on new nubbins in 2 weeks. So
we're still waiting.
Yeah, so I have to wear the same one for like a month. So I am doing the thing where I don't wear it for very long times.
Yeah.
And then the week before I'm gonna wear it all the time.
If you're just wearing it to bed, it's gonna be
That's
fine.
mostly what I'm doing.
Yeah. Because it's not actively shifting anything at this point. You're just keeping them in
there.
place.
Yeah.
But with all this waiting, like, who are your dentists? Cowboy?
They apparently had a I'm gonna cough just a second.
All right.
Do it.
Did it come through that? Because sometimes
we didn't hear it at all.
Sometimes my mute doesn't work. But
we did hear the mute, the action of the
does,
mute, though.
That does make a very loud noise. But they said that they had a 2-week conference. Man, I get fucked over by conferences constantly. Do you guys remember when my cat had to get an ultrasound and there was an ultrasound conference? Fuck conferences. I'm done with conferences.
Fuck a conference.
They just ruined my life.
It's 2024. Conferences are on Zoom now.
Yeah, right?
Like, why are they gone?
Weeks. Maybe it was like a vacation. Maybe it was like a team outing. I didn't really listen.
Maybe.
She just said we're gone for 2 weeks because of XYZ. I was like, if you're gone for 2 weeks, like, you could do that tomorrow. I don't understand why I have to be scheduled a month out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Everybody had to wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait.
The longest conference I've ever gone to was 3 days.
Same.
And by the start of day 3, I was 1000% drained. Like, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks. I would die. I would shrivel up and die.
I mean, I kind of assume some of, like, dentist conferences are like the Olympics, right? Though it's like, it's cardboard beds and they're just all like,
sexing?
man,
this is the
get down.
orthodontic side. So.
Oh, even better.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not even dealing with
more
like damaged teeth. They're just dealing with like, how do we straighten these things out?
How do we move them?
Yeah.
I do wonder what I need numbers on the distribution of men versus women and sexual orientations, though. Because when you think like a
Great question.
dental conference, I'm imagining just seas of women, like the hygienists.
Yeah.
And then like a handful of dudes, which works great if they're gay. But I don't know. Like, I don't know that everybody's sexing is what
Fair.
I'm, is
You
what
wanna
my
construct
hypothesis
some
is.
sort of like wedding reception table situation / murder board to figure out who's doing who.
You know, I don't even want to go that far, which is crazy because I love a murder board.
Yeah, who are
I
you?
just
and
really
what
want
have you done with
stats.
Kelly?
Just stats, yeah.
Yeah, I just want
That's
like
fair.
a graph or two,
'Cause it would
like
just be
some
like
data visualizations.
5 pictures and then a bunch of ladies, and then it would just be like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like rain. I don't know.
The probability of rejection for all of the other people. Yeah, great.
I have my dentist / orthodontist. It's the same guy that does both. And it's all women. The entire office is women. It's got to be like 50 people that work there, and it's just him as the only dude and 49 women.
Yeah. That's how most of my dentists have been. I've only had 2 female dentists, and one of them was super racist, and I didn't know. She also did a horrible filling. What is the name of that place? Because I want to.
You want to put them on blast?
I want to say bad things.
Kelly, I think you should just look their account up on Tooth Social.
I had a female dentist and a female dental hygienist that I loved from Seattle.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and I was very sad to lose them. That's one that I didn't think I would miss so much when I left, was my dentist. I was like, oh.
It's actually really hard to get reset with new people. When you find somebody who you're comfortable with for like your eyes or say your organs or your teeth, mouth, like it's a bummer when you got to find new people.
We found out whenever we left, like the day we were telling them we're gonna leave, that we were one of their first patients.
Yeah,
and they were like,
so sweet.
You guys are leaving? You were going? Like the first people we had. And we were like, what? We thought that they were a fully established dentist when we went.
They're like, we didn't even know what we were doing.
Have been great.
Take it a chance.
It's like the episode of Empty Nest. Did either of you watch Empty Nest? It was a spin-off of the Golden Girls. Where the lead actor is a pediatrician. He's older. His daughters have left, so he is an empty nester. But his wife has died, so he is sort of living this interesting late life thing. But as a doctor, there was one of the episodes that sticks to me to this day, where it just follows the life of one of the patients that he had from being a boy to being too old to go to the pediatrician again. And how it sort of mirrored the empty nestness, and just hearing you, Chelsea, talk about like, you were our first patients and now you're literally leaving the place where we are. It was just like, oh, that's very sweet in a weird way.
It's a transition for us all. Yeah.
God, life is full of changes.
What was the name of your dentist?
Fucking Sage Dental. The hygienist was racist. She's like flossing my teeth, and then she doesn't say this exactly, but I am like, let's say 2% paraphrasing. She starts her sentence with, the thing about Mexicans, and I was like, whoa, what do I do in this situation? Do I bite her? Do I just chomp down? Like, I don't know what to do. Certainly not tell her I'm part Mexican. I'm not saying that right now. And then when they filled my cavity, they did it so bad. I swear to God, I had a headache for 6 months until I went to the next dentist. Part of that is on me. I should have found a new dentist sooner, but I was like, I'm just going to wait for the 6 months. Yeah. And so I went in. I didn't even bring it up, but my dentist got in there and he was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, bad. It's bad.
Wait, is this your current dentist who we love?
This is my current dentist. Yeah. Yay, my current dentist was like, what is this bullshit? And I was like, I don't know. It hurts. And he was like, okay, we're going to take it out. So he redid that filling, which had been giving me a headache. I seriously had a headache for 6 months straight because she did such a bad filling.
She tried to fill your head with racist doctrine and then filled your tooth incorrectly.
Yeah. Yes.
She sounds great.
Terrible.
Horrible. horrible experience. That's my
That's our mouth
8-year-old mouth
Yeah.
garf.
I don't have a lot for MouthGarf myself, other than my Garf is having a great time. He hangs out. He's been watching some of the movies with me. I didn't make him watch
Aw.
Cannibal Holocaust, so that's good.
Good.
No, he can't handle
No,
that.
he doesn't want to be in that situation, and it would be wrong for me to subject it. No, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any tips on how to not lose a toenail when you drop something very heavy on it? Asking for a friend and my big toe.
Email in for Chelsea's friend's big toe.
Thank you.
Chelsea's Canadian friend's big toe.
Might lose it by the time this episode comes out. but-
My
Did
toenail
you
who lives
just
in
recently
Canada.
drop something heavy on it?
Yeah, and I I texted Kelly right when it happened. I was like, pretty sure I just broke my toe. Yeah, I dropped a bookcase on my toe, and
It's casual.
it just
You're
was
supposed to
like
put books in
it
it,
was a
not your toe
piece.
under it.
it was like a square piece, and it dropped like I put it in a
Oh,
box,
like a
and
right
then
angle.
it got stuck in the end of the box, and I shook the box, and it came out from where my head is, and it landed on its corner on the tip of my big toe, and so
Oh, no.
immediately I took off my sock, and my toe was just blue. I was like,
Oh,
pretty sure it's
hate
broken.
it.
And then I screamed for a very long time.
Yeah, you should. That's
And then I
correct.
got very sweaty and almost threw up.
Yeah.
So,
No, that
that's
sounds
not
right.
bad.
Pain
When I
will
broke
do
my
that.
toe years ago, it was like that. It's
Yeah.
extraordinarily painful. Did you have your toes
Yeah.
taped together?
I do not, because it is my big toe. So it's
the
like,
big toe.
it's
You
not
there's more
broken. I
gap.
can move it
Okay.
and like, it's okay. And I realize it's not broken. It's just very bruised. And I'm very scared about losing my toenail. And I don't want to lose my toenail. And I feel like
Is-
it's going to happen.
Is the nail
Hasn't-
loose?
I'm not going to
Yeah, no, don't
not-
wiggle.
Yeah,
no.
No wiggling.
I'm not asking that you don't fuck with it. I was just gonna say, like, is it evidently coming loose?
It is still attached
Okay.
at the moment. The top part of my toenail is still attached. So like that
Where
didn't.
where it hits the
top
cuticle
part.
bed is still
Mm.
attached.
No.
No,
Wait,
the top,
the top.
the tip where like nail polish would chip.
Yeah.
Oh, but
So
it's
that part's still attached.
But not the
part,
bottom?
very blue, unknown.
okay. Gotcha.
Unknown
Okay.
that that's attached. I have
So
been
here-
elevating and icing every day.
Mhm.
Compressing. Are you
I-
compressing?
What I've been reading, it goes back and forth on that because I think that my toe was salvageable, and then I wore a tennis shoe, and I think that
Ooh.
that's what made it way worse because it was getting better,
Okay.
and then I put on a tennis shoe, and then it was like, no.
Fuck.
So my bad for wearing a tennis
Okay.
shoe. Don't wear tennis shoes. But
No
if there's
tennis
any
shoes.
more tips on not losing them, because I feel like this is going to be a long game since it is still attached at the top. Like
Yeah,
the more it
you
moves
just
up,
gotta wait
I'm
for it to
afraid
grow.
it's gonna
Mhm.
like in like 3 weeks time it'll like get
So-
to the blue part and then it won't attach.
Yeah.
The internet
Okay, so
says
yeah, go on.
to wrap it. So you should wrap a bandage.
I do. Oh, I don't have it. I do have it
You
wrapped
can, like,
on the
yeah.
regular.
Because you can like bandage the toenail down so that
Okay.
it stays
Yeah.
until the new one grows in. And that
Yeah,
says like
okay.
7 to 10 days for the nail bed to refresh itself, which I don't
Unless
know.
unless it hit that part, and then then
Yeah.
I'm kind of fucked.
Well,
Yeah,
but okay, so I was just gonna say the same thing. Here is my experience
Looking at
with
it,
this.
sorry.
Not a break, and I have broken a toe, and it sucked ass. But this experience is not that. This was I hiked up a mountain in sneakers that were too small, and both of my big toenails turned blue and were threatening to come off.
Ooh, yeah, what'd
and
you do?
like separated from the nail bed. I taped it down and just waited, and it grew out.
Okay.
But while it was growing out, I would take the bandage off, and like you could see there was a bubble,
yeah, I
like
can see
where
a
it
little bit
was not
Mhm.
attached. But I just kept it
Okay.
bandaged down, didn't lose it, but that bubble took a long time to grow out. A long time.
That's actually, I hate that because I'm like not gonna wear. I've been wearing open-toed shoes because of it, and I feel like I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to keep wearing open-toed shoes until it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Here's a thought.
Yes.
Get one of those, get like a set of adorable like finger puppets. Cover the toe with the
Here we go.
character that fits your mood for the day.
Yeah.
Open toe sandals some kind of maybe Birkenstocks or something. You got a little puppet on there. Anybody asks you, you're like, I crushed my toe into a bookcase, and now it's Albert Einstein. Fuck off. Get away from me. Stop asking me
That's
questions
smart.
about
My
God.
problem isn't fashion, but I appreciate this.
I do think that you could go, instead of Einstein, go Newton, since his whole thing was gravity.
And I fell.
Yeah.
Gravity
Yeah.
was against me.
And
do I want that
I know
reminder?
that I think that you want to remind other people. I do think that Einstein has great hair, but Newton has like luscious locks.
He's rocking the
Perfect.
barrister wig.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, not the coils though.
Oh,
He's
sure.
got like more of a Farrah
Yeah,
Fawcett.
yeah.
Oh,
He does
beautiful.
definitely have feathered layers, especially when the apple hits him.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing, Chelsea, right now, if you want, we can put a list together of like steel-toed boot manufacturers, and we can see if we can get you like a promotional deal. Let's
Well,
make
if
you some fast
that'll
money.
That'll just save it from falling on my foot. It won't save my foot from rubbing up against. Oh, you're long term because I'm clumsy. Gotcha. I'm there. Honestly, if we can get those sponsored and for free, if
Yeah,
I can get free
exactly.
shoes, I will take it in a heartbeat.
I'm saying you're freshly exfoliated. You just
That's
got to
true.
eat some sunflower seeds. You're gonna have those luscious lips ready to roll,
Mhm.
and then you got a
Dude.
toe that's busted as fuck, and you get to
Yeah.
go in there and be like, "Hey, did you
Look.
ever want a supermodel to show what happens if people don't follow workplace
Wear your
safety
shoes.
rules?"
Yeah.
And then you're
OSHA,
swimming in
baby. Now
Timberlands.
we've got 2 sponsorships.
That's what I'm saying. This is just
Genius.
lemonade, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful.
it's the same thing that Kirsten Dunst said one day: when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Aw.
Aw. Love him.
It's cute.
Love her.
It's cute,
Love
right?
them.
It's cute. And that was the MouthGarf Report?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank y'all for your help.
Hell yeah. And listeners, yeah, write in. Let us know. We don't look at Twitter anymore. It's a cesspool. But, you can Instagram at us or something. Email.
Yeah.
babybuddies@gmail.com.
That's us.
Would you like to play a game?
I'm curious where this is going to go.
Ooh, where is it gonna go? Let's get
You did
excited.
some weird stuff via text that I am a little concerned with.
What did I do? What did I do that was weird?
It's
We're
like
talking about feet.
yeah, a lot about feet.
Oh, well, sure, yeah. I made some foot references, and then the weird Garth Jesus carrying a shrimp. There's a lot that's been going on lately. Don't worry. Don't
Y'all,
worry.
listeners, I just want you to know the group chat is unhinged.
Yeah. But I did find that great Garf meme where it's like, I went to Cutie Patootie Town and everyone there knows
was
you, which
Yeah.
is the
So
best
wholesome.
possible version of that sentiment, right? Like it could be a gross
Yeah.
pickup line. Like I went to Cutie Patootie Town and the population
Right.
was you, or you're the mayor. But this was like, no, everybody
No.
knows you there. You,
Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh my god, how are they doing?"
yeah. It establishes a network of caring, considerate community.
Cutie patooties.
Yeah. But yeah, I see what you did there will not be that. And that's what it's time to play.
Okay, great.
It's time to play. I see what you did there.
Yay!
Ooh.
This is found footage edition, so get ready.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about, various things related to the connection and to other found footage,
Okay.
and to maybe just film in general. You'll see what I
Great.
did there.
Okay.
And you have definitely brought up 2 of the things already.
Oh,
Okay.
dope.
Earlier in the
Dope.
episode, you've already brought up partial answers to 2
Great.
of the coming
Excellent.
questions.
Feeling
Number
confident.
1. Oh, feel as you should. You really should.
good.
You're gonna do great. This is gonna be
Oh,
amazing.
God.
Oh,
Okay,
now I
I'm
feel
nervous.
way less confident.
Number 1. Put these 2 street names for heroin together to form a description fitting Seabiscuit, Black Beauty, Pegasus, and Artax. And these are ancient marine and brackish water arthropods commonly harvested for the medicinal value of their blood.
I got
Some
so hung up listing the horses.
Yeah.
So can you relist the horses and then do the second part?
Yeah. So 2 street names for heroin, back to back, that would form a fitting description of Seabiscuit, Black Beauty, Pegasus, and Artax.
Okay.
The second half, these are ancient marine and brackish water arthropods, commonly harvested for the medicinal value of their blood.
Okay, so we've got white pony, and I'm assuming black tar.
Oh. Would it just be ponies? So is white the street name and then pony is a street name?
White pony is a street name for heroin.
You need 2 separate street names that you put together.
Yes. I'm not very hip.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying the name for heroin on the street. Gotcha.
Yes.
I was thinking of like lane, street, block.
Oh,
I'm an idiot.
No.
Street
Look,
names.
You saw what I did.
Okay, we got it.
That one's over. We did it. It's over. We don't even have to do this one. It didn't happen.
No, okay.
No.
We got
We've got white pony.
Okay, Artax. Okay, Seabiscuit, Artax.
All 4 of those are what?
Can you say the other 2?
Pegasus and Black Beauty.
Fictional? Wait.
Well,
Seabiscuit's real.
they're all, what kind of animal are
Seabiscuit's
they?
real.
Movie.
I mean, they're horses.
They're all horses, yes.
Yes,
And horse is a street name for heroin. That's one.
It is
Correct.
just
Okay.
horse?
Yeah, just horse.
White pony horse seahorses? That sounds weird.
Oh, seahorses is part 2?
No.
Right? Oh, damn.
Seahorses is part 2.
It felt right.
If each of these horses that I named, Seabiscuit, Black Beauty, Pegasus, and Artax, are in movies, they are usually in the role of this common storytelling trope.
The heroine?
Or make it masculine.
Oh, the hero.
Right. And hero is also a street name for heroin.
Oh!
So hero, horse.
You learn something new every day.
So the first
Hero,
part is
horse, hero?
The 2 names are hero, horse.
Hero, horse.
So hero is 1, horse is 1. A hero horse is how you could describe Seabiscuit, Black Beauty, Pegasus, and Artax. They're all hero horses. Great. Hero horse.
Hero
That's
horse.
the first half. Second half.
Hero horse.
Ancient marine arthropod, harvested for the medicinal value of their blood. They look the same way they would have looked when the dinosaurs were around.
Can you define arthropod?
They're like a crab thing.
No.
They in fact, crab is in the name of the thing.
Horseshoe
Oh,
crab.
no.
Yes.
Oh.
Put it all together.
Hero horseshoe crab.
Hey, you see what I did there?
Good work.
Ooh. Thanks, Nate. You really held our hand for that one.
And the award
God, we
for
are fucking
longest walk
squares,
goes to-
dude.
That was a stretch because even I didn't know the street names for heroin. I just saw those 2 and I was like, well, this will work. And I just went, my co-hosts are super hip. They're cool.
No, we
They're in with
definitely
the
do
kids.
heroin. So
Yeah.
We have fooled you.
Well, let's number 1 never happened. We'll strike that from the record. Number 2, this is a cinematographic technique where stable image techniques are purposely dispensed with or given the appearance of being handheld. And this actress has portrayed an angel, a swamp-loving princess, and a gangster's moll.
And a gangster's what?
Moll? M-O-L-L?
Shaky Cameron Diaz.
Shaky Cameron Diaz. Yeah, you got it. Yes, Shaky Cameron
Whoa.
Diaz. You see what I did there?
Whoa! Good job.
Good work. Yeah. Cameron Diaz plays.
Wait,
I had to
an
come back
angel?
after that
Oh,
last
Charlie's
one.
angel.
Fiona.
He is
Who's the swamp
Fiona
loving-
from Shrek.
Fiona.
And then
That's what I
she is
did
a
it for.
gangster's moll in The Mask. Her film debut, where she...
What's a mall?
It's a girlfriend. It's old-timey slang for gangster's girlfriend. It's gangster's moll.
Okay, so Nate's so old that he's using this slang, but missed
You
all
didn't-
the heroin slang.
You didn't comment on my Tommy gun display behind me either. I don't know what we're doing here. Shaky Cameron Diaz.
Was she in Gangs of New York? Was that her?
Was she what?
In Gangs of New York? Who was the lady?
Yes,
Yeah,
she
that
is
was
in
her.
Gangs of New York.
Okay.
Trying
Okay.
to do an Irish accent and not necessarily succeeding.
That's right.
Um,
You know what? Speaking of Chelsea's grandma, I watched Gangs of New York in Chelsea's grandma's house.
Great. Hell yeah.
It's the best place to watch movies.
I watched a lot there.
Mhm.
All right. Number 3, it keeps going until
Yeah,
more
I
Alan
know.
proves.
To it.
Number 3, 41 years later, this classic mockumentary film gets a sequel in
Oh.
2025. One assumes it would be released on November 11th. And these are a retro format for storing audio or audio and video commonly used in found footage film titles.
Spinal tapes.
Spinal tape.
Yeah, this is Spinal Tapes. Yep, you see what I did
Oh, this
there.
is Spinal Tape.
Oh, that's
Okay,
right.
that
Okay,
makes
yeah.
more sense.
Yeah. Yeah. The sequel's got to be released on the 11th, right?
Yeah, it's got to go up to 11.
It goes to
It's got to
11.
be. It's got to be. Did I tell you that part of why I bought the audio interface I use to record our podcasts is because the volume knob goes to 11?
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
the only reason to buy anything.
I was like, oh, God, you guys, fine.
Can you
Fine.
imagine if you bought a car just because the speedometer went to 11 and that was it? You're like, yeah, I don't know.
You just sort
I
of
don't know
have to
how fast
guess.
I'm going after that, but I'm past 11.
Is that good?
Okay, number 4. This found footage film was a Sundance darling with a budget under $1 million, most of it spent on Kleenex. But it made 250 times that much. And this
Damn.
was the first hypertext project founded in 1960 by Ted Nelson that is, quote, superior to the World Wide Web and didn't release until 1998. It also shares a name with an Olivia Newton-John musical classic.
Xanadu?
Yeah. Put it all together.
Okay. Okay.
What?
What's the first?
Okay,
I
wait.
thought I
First
knew
part.
what the first one
Found
was,
footage
but I
Sundance
guess
film. Wait,
It's the one you've already mentioned on the show that you brought up. And they had a big
Was
Kleenex
it
budget for obvious reasons.
it's got to be Blair Witch.
Yeah, it is.
so Blair Witch Xanadu? That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, what are we doing
The Blair
here?
Witch Project Xanadu.
Oh.
Project Xanadu is the name of this thing. This
Oh.
guy and his buddies built something that they thought would be better than the internet, and it took them 38 years to release it. And apparently, it does exist. You can download it now, and you can play
Okay.
in this alternate hypertext reality. So both of you are capable of
We
doing
should
that
move over
without
to
destroying
that.
something. We might as well see what it is. I would be curious to know if it's at all interesting.
Yeah, let me share my screen.
So yeah, you see what I did there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got one more. Number 5.
I didn't like that bracing breath you just. He's like, damn, we used to only do 4.
This takes a lot out of us, I think, all of us. And it's at the end, so it's like, whew, geez. While VHS is a found footage horror franchise, no one's making movies about this LP-sized early disc optical home video format. But maybe it could make a comeback by selling through one of these places like Kmart, Walmart, Aldi, or Dollar General.
These are a discount store.
Laser discount stores. You see what I did there?
Chelsea,
Well done.
you crushed this
Well
one.
done.
Crushed 2 of them. Let's
No,
be
you got
honest.
3. You did 3.
Because I got horseshoe
and we both
crab.
got 4. Yeah.
That's just because I knew crabs.
Well,
I didn't understand arthropod though.
no, I had to ask for
No.
clarification. I was like, can you use
That was
it
a
in
bit
a
of a
sentence?
struggle.
Look, we made it. We got through. And it's time to talk Debs.
Debs.
How many Debs? How many Debs? How many Debs? How many Debs?
So I just up front, I want to let's remove Cannibal Holocaust from the Debs consideration.
Yeah.
We're only doing
kick that
Debs
out.
about the connection and the
Connections.
conversation around the connection, and that's it. I mean, Cannibal Holocaust gets maybe 2 Debs
Indicative?
independently,
Oh,
and that's entirely because, like,
the
there
idea
is-
alone.
there's
The concept.
merit. It exists. It does something, but don't. Now let's
does
talk
something.
about
Don't. Nobody needs to do it again.
let's talk about the good shit.
Huh. I mean, our combo, 5 Debs, obviously. Have we ever ranked our combo lower? Have we ever been like,
We have a very
I'm
favorable
mad.
review of our podcast, and
I
that
feel
I
like
think
there
that's
might
that's
have
only
been
correct.
one.
Oh boy. We were all just in a bad
I
mood.
think so. Maybe we just talked about capitalism too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Was it
riled
the
ourselves. We
AI
were like,
one? Did we,
first
like, lose
Super
our shit
Bowl,
with that
1
Ooh,
star.
it might be. Yeah,
We were like
is,
3 for the conversation. We got too angry too quickly.
there's the famous Lost Debut Buddies episode where we almost broke up the podcast completely, and we were like, this is terrible. 1 Deb.
Chelsea and I just bullied Nate for 2 hours, and he was like, I'm not editing this.
Yeah. I also, as I recall, said, keep going. I'm into this, even if I say stop.
And that's when we stopped because we were like, ew,
Yeah.
Nate.
But yeah, no, I 5, right? This is a 5.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is a gem of a movie that you would not like. I wouldn't have known about this unless we went here, and now I know about it, and I'm so happy.
Me too. I feel like coming into the conversation, even I was thinking more about 4, but like you had some really interesting takes that I hadn't thought about, and now I want to watch it again. And yeah, it's got to be 5 Debs from me.
5. I am convinced to go finish it, and the conversation was
Hell
great.
yeah.
I learned so much about the movie. I feel like I watched the movie, but it made me still want to watch it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, guys, this is a good one. Go find it on Kanopy. If you don't have a library card, get a library card.
And that's the other part, is that Kanopy has some pretty good movies that I did not notice.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and they have like a ticket system, right? Am I making that up?
Yes. Yeah, the ticket system's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. So, like, at the very least, learned about a new app as well. I had it on my phone, but I just never signed into it.
Oh, like logged in.
Yeah, I
with
never
your-
logged
yeah,
in.
Yeah.
So, very happy to have it now.
Okay.
Kanopy, 4 stars. Could be 5 if they improved stability.
Just a little bit of a stability improvement. That's great. The connection, 5 stars. 5 Debs. Not even stars. Put 5 stars on the 5 Debs. It's that good.
Yeah,
We'll take it. On our next episode, we're going to be getting back to something that we maybe said we were going to do before.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it
that.
disappeared. maybe we lost it. But, some people found some footage. We found an old topic that deserves to be discussed. So we're going to talk about the first labor union on our next episode. Get excited. It's coming out around Labor Day. So when you're stuffing your mouth full of yet more hot dogs and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
probably...
Oh my God, that's why they're doing the hot dog
September
eating
2nd.
competition in September.
Yeah.
Shout out Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi.
So yeah, we're gonna bring it. We're gonna talk about the history of labor unions, and we'll see if we have some insightful things to say. In addition to, get ready. We're gonna talk about capitalism a little bit, because guess what? Guess what, folks? Without capitalism, we don't really need to do the labor union thing.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Maybe if we bottle it all up
Or-
into one episode, it'll stop like leaking into all the other episodes.
Right? Yeah.
It will never.
No, we'll never.
Yeah,
It
this
won't
is
work
like
that
how
way.
Dexter from the show Dexter was like, if I just kill this guy, maybe I want to kill him. Anymore.
Right.
It's totally
This is
gonna
like
work.
if I just do heroin this one
I'll
time.
be real. I'll be real about this movie.
Nah, man, it's not real. It's just your movie.
On that wistful note, if you like this show, please subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Talk to us about how you feel about found footage. Do you have a different take on Cannibal Holocaust? Do you want to throw down in the comments? Do it. 5 stars, throw down in the comments. Email us, debutbuddies@gmail.com. We would love to talk. I will reiterate, we've put this pitch out there a few times. If you listen to this show and you dig it, and you want to like revisit some of these topics, if you have info that we missed, if you have something you want to share, let's talk. Let's set something up. I think we would all love to have maybe like an episode where it's just, let's go back and talk about some of these things again a little bit, revisit some ideas and be corrected, because we're not perfect. Just because we look it and we sound it doesn't mean we are.
And like Nate was describing earlier, we all sort of have a bullying kink. Come tell us we're wrong.
It's true. Come on. Make it hurt.
Just a little.
And then a lot. And then a little again.
Debs.
If you like the music in the show, Michael J. O'Connor, that's your person. He's been touring with the Daniel Stern, the band that he's in now. I know it's a local sort of Northern California and PNW tour, but that doesn't mean that you can't look him up on the internet. You can't go to michaeljoconnor.bandcamp.com and just find out how amazing his other music is. Like, what's stopping you?
Yeah.
What's holding you back? Email us about that.
Only
too.
yourself.
This is true. Look, Chelsea's the guru in the group, and she just told you. This is about you holding yourself back. The way that
Keep
maybe
it on your computer. Or
Orlando
your phone.
Bloom's holding himself back
Go to
in the movie
Bandcamp.
Elizabethtown.
Ugh,
That's what the last episode was.
that is what it was. Damn.
It's been, look, our recording schedule
Years.
is
It's been years.
long and short and long and short. So we have the great luxury of seeing each other fresh and new, as if it's the first time, almost every time we record. And that's a blessing. Yep. That's a real blessing. So yeah, check out Michael J. O'Connor's stuff. If you want to read some books, I am responsible for the publication of books under the Spaceboy Books label. You can go to readspaceboy.com for those.
And if you are interested in horror movies that are not Cannibal Holocaust, notably, you can go find me and Chelsea talking about other more fun ones on Never Show the Monster, a podcast about horror movies.
Is there any found footage we'd be doing? We did host, but it depends on how you.
We did do host.
So the screener and Unfriended, and Nate was there for that.
I was there for the whole internet. The whole
for both
internet
of
arc.
those. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what are the other two? Oh, the other two weren't found footage.
Pulse. No,
Yeah,
not
Pulse
found
was
footage.
not found footage.
Whatever. Go
What
find
was
the Nate
hashtag horror
episode.
That wasn't.
Hashtag horror.
Yeah, also really not found footage, but it had found footagey vibes from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, from time to time. Yeah.
And it's possible that someone found it and was like, "Is this a movie?"
Footage.
I guess.
You know,
Yeah. Oh, look.
that would explain
Yeah,
everybody.
why it's so bad.
There's footage in this garbage can. Should we use it anyway? No. Hey, look. I couldn't make a movie that competently, probably. I don't know. Maybe I could.
I think you could.
Listeners, if you want me to make a movie that competently, you're gonna go to PayPal. You're gonna you're gonna start sending money. One of the things I wanted to mention to both of you that is now going to completely escape my brain, and I'm going to have to say never mind.
No.
So whatever. We forgot. Oh no, I got it back. Do either of you watch The Boys?
Yes.
Okay. Your boy, Kelly's favorite boy from Supernatural and Dead and Breakfast.
You could be talking about Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Yeah.
And Jensen Ackles was
He's in it
too.
I was like, and Jensen
You got the
Ackles. Yeah, I could go either
two
way.
of your boys are in The Boys.
Yeah, my boys.
Mhm.
Oh, I
It's
know.
exciting.
I know. It's on the
And they're
list.
presumably both going to be there.
It's
in
from the
in
same
final season.
creator as Supernatural.
As Supernatural.
Well, there you go.
That explains it. That explains it. Notably not Jared Padalecki.
He's not. He hasn't showed
I
up
think
yet.
that there were talks of him maybe, but he's
But he had to go
doing-
be Walker,
yeah.
Texas Ranger.
but he has said really bad things about that, I guess, recently. Oh, did you guys see
Well.
the Marvel and who's going to be Doctor Doom?
Yes. Yeah.
It's
RDJ's
also our
coming
boy.
back. Robert Downey Jr.
Who is it?
gonna be
Robert Downey Jr. is
Dr.
going to be
Doom.
Doctor Doom.
Wasn't he Iron Man? Yes, he was, notably. And everybody is like, what? And by the time this episode comes out, everybody will be like, huh? It's an interesting thing. Hey, look, developments are happening. It's a dark room in here. We got tubs of goo and chemicals and pieces of paper and pictures of pretty good looking people are popping up.
Well, there are only 10 actors in Hollywood.
True.
So.
Well, 9
Also,
now.
Sorry, I'm
R.I.P.
looping back around to the supernatural thing and the boys again. But
Yeah.
Bobby's in it and he plays Bobby Singer. But he's like, yeah, and it is Bobby. And it's Bobby playing Bobby.
Bobby. Okay.
See, just incentive to check out a very gory thing that doesn't make
It
me
is
as
very
uncomfortable as Cannibal
And
Holocaust.
there is some
It's on
sexual
the list.
violence
It's on the
in it,
list.
but not as bad as American Horror Story, I think. I think
Yeah,
it's
it is-
more comedic than it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets gross. It's mixture.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a tiny man who can grow to be a much larger man
Hell.
crawls into another man's penis and then explodes it. Sometimes that happens. But look,
Spoilers.
we all have.
It's not to
we all
the
have our
plot if
interests.
it's any consolation.
Yeah. We all have our interests. It's very important. So yeah, thank you, listeners, for listening. Come back and check us out. We're gonna be talking labor. And until then, yo-ha.
Yo-ha.
Bye, buddies.
First is best, or first is worst.